Today's discussion: what is Palo Mayombe? Palo is one of the 4 religions of African origin that are still practiced not only in Cuba, but in many parts of the world. The other 3 are Santeria, Abakwa, and Arawa. Outside of Africa, many see the religion as a form of necromancy called Nkanga, which is still widespread in several parts of the west coast of Central Africa. But, in actuality, an Nkanga refers to both the practice and its priests. There are 4 branches of Palo: Palo Mayombe, Palo Briyama, Palo Kimbisa, Palo Monte. It is said that branch of Palo Mayombe is the one that retains the most African elements. It's also said that Palo Mayombe is the branch that practices mostly bad magic, which is wrong, and largely due to misinformation and misunderstanding. Palo Briyama is known to be the branch that is more technical. Many say that Palo Kimbisa is the most Christianized and Masonic sects of Palo. It's said that Palo Monte identifies mostly with goodness and was born from the urbanized sections of Cuba. We, in Palo, do not believe that our religion is the only way. There are many paths that leads to God, and ours is just only one of them. The religion of Palo is as old as many of the other faiths and religions of the world. Adaptation and change is not only part of our tradition, but a way to survive. The religion of Palo is a religion that is as valid as Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and many others. The religion of Palo has a clear set of ethical values and morals as well as teachings of respect for human life. Just like other religions, we believe in sharing the wealth with those who are less fortunate, and that believe in a supreme God who we call Nsambe. Christians call him God Almighty. Islam calls him Allah. Nsambe's assistants, known as the Nkisi, also commonly known as Mpongos. The priests of Palo, which includes both the men and women, are those that have been elected by the spirits and the Mpongos, and many of them are known to be excellent as teachers, herbalists, counselors, and messengers, both among the world of the spirits as well as the living. The priests of Palo must, therefore, become very competent in the art of communicating with various types of spirits, of all levels of development. As with everything, you have the good and the bad. There are those who manipulate and use the spirits for wrong purposes. Thankfully, there are many more Paleros that follow the right path and instead concentrate on helping those in need, just like those that came before us. Those that have chosen to follow the wrong path will eventually have to pay for their actions and choices. The religion of Palo teaches that everything was created by Nsambe, also known as God. Nsambe created both the good as well as the bad. Many of the spirits that choose to work with the Palero do so for various reasons. One of the main reasons is for spiritual development. The spiritual signatures, also known as firmas, songs, and the invocations that are done, are designed to communicate with the spirits which are at the heart of the practice of Palo Mayombe. Those that are initiated into the path of Palo are called Paleros. Paleros are known to maintain constant communication with the spiritual energies to obtain its guidance, wisdom, and beneficial care for all those who come under the protection of the Paleros spiritual house. Our religion is the belief in God and a number of elevated spirits, the good and pure spirits which we constantly interact with, a hierarchical priesthood, a body of believers, temples, altars, and traditional rituals that have passed from generation to generation through our ancestors. In the religion of Palo, we recognize Nsambe and the Mpongos, which is a more traditional Kikongo term, have power over everything that happens, both good and bad. In Osha, also known as Santeria, they believe and teach that there is no eternal duality of good versus evil. But we in Palo believe that there is a clear and endless battle between the good, positive forces and the bad, which is the more negative forces. This tension between the two energies is what drives the existence. Our hierarchical structure is simple. The head of the temple is called Tata Nkanga, and a woman would be called An Yayi Nkanga. Anyone who wants to become a member of a Manatso, which is a spiritual house, and that is finally accepted by the Tata, must pass through the ceremony of purification and acceptance, initiation, also known as the presentation introduction to the Nkanga. In this stage, the neophyte becomes a member of the Manatso, and now falls under the protection and rules of the house. When a person receives the necklace of the Manatso, this indicates that the person is a member of the spiritual house and has the right to the protection of the Godfather as well as the help of all the members of that spiritual house. This includes the spirits of that Manatso, which are considered an integral part of the house. Becoming a member of a Manatso comes with its privileges, but also responsibilities. If after obtaining the necklace the person neglects their duties, the neglectful person can become vulnerable to misfortune. The spirits will remind you that life is a two-way street. A spirit will be quick to remind you of the following: neglect your responsibilities with me, and I will in turn neglect mine to you. Later on, the new person may learn more lessons that would prepare them for further development. The next step after the presentation is the Rayamiento. After a period of time where the new person and the Godfather has had the opportunity to evaluate each, the new person can ask the Godfather to ask the Impungos and spirits if he is prepared to receive any further initiations. Although everyone can benefit from being helped by the spirits of the Nganga, many are not called or allowed to go further than that. If a person is accepted to be a full member of the Mananso, they will then go through certain initiation ceremonies that will not be discussed to the public. Each spiritual house is different when it comes to the member of the Munanso receiving their own fundamental. The Prenda, which is a miniature universe containing at least 21 sticks palos. This is where the religion gets its name, by the way, and other secret ingredients that bring strong energies and spirits to work with. Each member has an obligation to help the Godfather of the Mananso as best as they can. This usually includes helping to maintain the Mananso, helping to keep fresh flowers in the Mananso and on the altars, help clean and whatever else that may need to be taken care of. Depending on the Mananso, members of the house should learn how to divine using the chamalangos, which are 4 coconut shells. There are various forms of divination in Palo used to communicate directly with the spirits. The most common ones are Cha, Melango, which are divination with 4 shells in, Kobo, which is divination with various numbers of shells, Mensu, which is divination using a specially prepared horn, and many others. The language we use in Palo is from an old African, Congo dialect called Kikongo. But because of adaptation, over the course of time, it is currently mixed with Spanish and a bit of the Yoruban dialect as well. It is the goal of many who are initiated into the religion of Palo is become as fluent in the language as possible, which is mainly used during ceremonies and amongst ourselves when we communicate with each other as well as with many of the Kwangu spirits. Palo is not only a religion, but also a wonderful and magical journey. So, what is Palo? This can only be truly answered when one can experience it for themselves.